Off. Here we go. So yeah, we're live now. And the things that I usually do to stream live are not working at the moment. So we may have some challenges today. We'll see how well it goes. We just had a big power outage for multiple days. Terrible electric company. I'll talk about my woes dealing with utilities and monopolies this week. Yeah, it's been crazy. But I've got a bunch of stuff that's been coming in while I've been in the dark. So we've got stuff to look at. And we are streaming out via my new router. And you can watch a video that I did about the router last night. So you can pull that one up and learn all about what we're doing. And I have no, I don't think it's going to be a terribly reliable stream today. We'll see what happens, but we'll give it a go. So we got some people coming in here. It looks like Recipe Bob is here. Alamo Ralphon is here. Thomas Woodford is here. DC147 from the UK. Recipe Bob has been following my gripes. Yes, it's been a bad run here. Elaine N says hello from Phoenix. When am I going to come to visit Silicon Dust? As soon as all this COVID stuff is over, I will be happy to come and visit. I would like to get out of the house, so one of these days. Lidex Fun is here from France. Josh Lynn is here. Billy is here from Florida. G-Man is here from Oklahoma. All sorts of folks coming in. So today I got in, by the way, this came in free of charge from Team Pixel. This is the Pixel 4a phone, and we're going to be unboxing this. And they sent this to the channel ahead of its release, and I'm very excited to try it out. A lot of people have been getting these. And I think we'll see how it goes. Jesse Robinson wants to know, when do I expect to see a return on investment for the Gig Pro? I don't have it yet, and it's going to be a hard one to measure. I think the real return on investment is the fact that it's going to make uploading less of a time suck as it is right now. That's been the big problem for me, is that between me and Jake, we're spending so much time uploading or moving data around that it's hindering other work. So to take that component out, I think is going to be a pretty quick. It's going to be hard to measure or quantify that, if you will, but qualitatively, I'll be very happy. So that's the scope there. Los is here from Chicago. Jesse Robinson is here, who I just answered the question. Sorry about that. Flood of Sins is here. Billy wants to know, what's my upload speed? Well, right now, the upload speed is 12 megabits per second. And because my usual Amazon multi-broadcaster thing wasn't working today, we are running 5 megabits upstream off my total of 12. And we have a pretty widespread power outage in my area that is slowly coming back online, but they keep taking things down and putting, so I don't know how long the stream is going to last for, to be honest with you. I'm really pushing my luck here, so we'll see where it goes. But the new connection will be, and actually I just learned something new about the new connection because I was not aware of this. Apparently it is 2 gig symmetrical on the SFP port on the interface they bring over. But there's also a second connection, which is an additional gigabit. So you get a total of 3 gigabits across 2 interfaces. That's awesome. So yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be cool. So excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat here. So yeah, so it's good stuff. All right, so what we're going to do today is we are going to unbox this new phone from Google. This is the Pixel 3a. They sent this to the channel free of charge. I appreciate their willingness to send this out to us. And this is not out yet. It's going to come out on August 20th. But what we're going to do in this video is unbox it, or at least this stream is unbox it, get it set up. I'm going to run some benchmarks on it, and then we'll see how much time I've got left after we do all of that. And then we'll just have a chat. I think that'll be kind of fun. I was very happy with my Pixel 3a. I'll put it up on the Amazon chat here for a second. I was very happy with my Pixel 3a that they sent me last year. Great phone, great screen. This one should be a little faster. It should look a little more modern. The bezels are smaller on it. I think it's thinner. Camera is going to be roughly the same. There might be some improvement there, minor improvements. And I think the performance, I think, is really the big thing. So we'll kind of dive into that. And what I want to do before we start is pull up the specs on this, because I know a lot of you will have questions about that, so that you know what's inside of it. So, and then I'm going to shoot and I may just set up the recording right now. I'm going to shoot an unboxing for the extras channel so that I can upload that and have it ready. And then I'll review it. I think I'm going to probably post my review closer to when it comes out. We'll see. Because everyone gets these things and they get their reviews up right away. I think I want to wait a little bit. So I might unbox it now and then get some homework done on it, spend some time with it, and we'll go from there. So I'm just going to set up my recording folder. I'm still very, very happy with vMix, by the way. That's my software that I'm using for all the things that I do here. And we'll go from there. The good news is that I now have a generator, so when I do lose power, it's not the end of the world. However, if Comcast loses power, it is the end of the world, because then I lose my connection, so that's been bad. So Billy's got Frontier, and he gets 200 symmetrical on Frontier. I would have been happy with that. Honestly, if that was available, I just would have gotten that. Frontier just has DSL in my neck of the woods. That is it. But they are going bankrupt, and the hope is that after they come out of bankruptcy, they'll be able to be more competitive. So we'll see where they go from there. Josh Lynn wants to know, what is my daily driver? My daily driver phone is the iPhone 11 Pro. I love my iPhone. I love the camera on my iPhone more than anything, although this has a nice camera on it, so I'm eager to see how this works. But I always have an extra phone standing by, so I have a Pixel 4 that I have standing by in case something breaks. Let's take a few more questions, and then we'll do the unboxing. Flood of Sins wants to know, will I be getting the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra? Probably not. Phones are hard for me to review because there's so many people that review phones that I do better with the cheap laptops, because a lot of people don't like the cheap laptops. And by the way, I'm getting 2 more in tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a stream tomorrow or Monday. Monday's gonna be so busy. I got a bunch of meetings going on too. We're opening up our schools next month, and we're going to be doing a hybrid school opening. I don't work for the schools, but I'm on the school board, and I have volunteered to help with the technical stuff, because we're going to have we're going to stagger the day. So we're going to have, or stagger the week. So we're going to have cohorts. We're going to have cohort A in 2 days a week. There's a day off in the middle where everybody's learning from home, and then Thursday, Friday is a different cohort. So we're going to have what's called synchronous learning, where the classroom is going to be live streamed to the kids that are at home. And that's going to be interesting, right? Because we're going to have, just in our elementary school here, I forgot how many classes we have exactly, but probably 18 or 20 classrooms that have to all be streaming at the same time. So that's going to be, a big challenge. What we have in Connecticut is, although we don't have public internet here, obviously, the state runs a network for schools. So it's a pretty good fiber network that they're on. Thomas Woodford says he's on using the original Pixel, so looking forward to one of these lower phones. Yeah, the flagships are expensive, and what's interesting is that the low-end Pixel 4a and the 3a before it, they actually have a really good camera. Like, the camera on the Pixel 3a is the same as the flagship Pixel 3, but the 4a camera is not the same as the 4's camera, because it doesn't have 2 lenses, it just has the one. But I still think it's going to be pretty good. What I'm seeing out there from some of the reviews that have come out already is that the camera on the 4A is pretty much the same as the 3A from a visual standpoint. The aperture is slightly wider on this, so it's a 1.7 versus a 1.8. So you might see a little bit more natural bokeh, depending on what you're looking at. So that should be interesting. Reese Armstrong is here. Billy wants me to move down to wherever he is, I think in Florida. Yeah, I would love to move down to somewhere. I'd love to just get out of my house, to be honest with you. It's been a long 6 months, or 5 months, however long it's been. Kezar Tiberes attempted to buy one, but have concerns about how the processor will age over time. He likes to keep phones for 3+ years. That's one of the issues there that I think, we'll test it out. I was actually surprised by how good the processor in the prior model was. And when we run our benchmark, we'll see how this compares to that one. So that should be kind of fun. Josh, thank you for the nice comment there. Let me scroll back up. G-Man has gigabit symmetrical fiber in Oklahoma. I am jealous of that. Luke Autry wants me to test the USB-C port, check transfer speeds to the portable SSD. Yeah, we can take a look at the USB-C on this one. The last one was a little more limited in that it would do data and power, but not video. So maybe we'll see if it can do video. We'll see what we can get in today, but I'll definitely, like I said, I'll be spending a little bit more time with this because I'm not in any rush to get the review up, given that it's not out yet. So I think we'll be able to do that. Frosty Winnipeg is here. New Frequency says synchronous disconnections. Yeah, that's my biggest fear, is that you're going to have, when these synchronous classrooms, you're going to have 8 to 10 kids at home who all have to be able to have the experience at the same time. So that's going to be the real trick. And it's going to be really incumbent on Comcast to keep the network up in the community. That's going to be the big one for that to work properly, for sure. Let's see. Zosu says, it looks like Google is moving away from flagships. They can discontinue the Pixel 4 already. Yeah, I think they've got the Pixel 5 on the way, so I'm pretty sure there's going to be another flagship. But these phones, you look at what's kind of emerging in the middle, because even Apple now has the $400 iPhone SE, which is a great phone. This one, I think, is going to be a great phone. $349, I think, is the cost on this one. And that's the unlocked price. It'll work on any carrier. So, it's great. You can get a good phone. And not everybody needs the super high-end one. Now, I don't think they're coming out with a larger version of this. I think, at least for now, the 4A that they're offering is going to be the size that you'll see in a minute, like 5 and change. But I think there's a 5G version coming out later. But who's got 5G right now? Nobody. At least I don't, because I don't have anything out where I live. New Frequency says this thing is already sold out and needs to upgrade before the end of 2020. Yes, this is not out yet, so you can't buy this one just yet. If you need a phone like lickety-split, the Pixel 3A is a good one if you're looking for a Pixel phone. And this will be out, I think, in about 2 weeks. Alberto Da Silva wants me to test the quality of the headphone jack. I had a Pixel 3A that he had to get rid of because the headphone jack quality was rubbish. So Alberto, if you could tell me, was it the hardware quality, like it just stopped working, or is it just the audio quality isn't good? Let me know. Brooks Lawson, can I post a recap later? I don't have time to get this reviewed for 5. We're not reviewing it today anyway, Brooks, so don't worry. There will be a recap when it gets posted. DC147 wants to know, will there be recordings of each class? I'm pretty sure they'll have some way to record it. That's a really good idea, actually. It's tricky on a whole host of levels, for sure. And Jackie06 says, big camera bump, but no wide angle or telephoto lens, unfortunately. Yeah, it looks like that's kind of the trade-off on these lower cost phones. And I'll tell you what, having the super wide angle lens on the iPhone here has been a great experience. So we'll have to see what happens there. And then on the Amazon chat, El Ray wants to know, is the Pixel 4a XL going to be offered? And at the moment, it does not appear to be that is the case. So we'll obviously keep an eye on that for when we do the full review. All right, so I'm going to get into the unboxing portion. We'll get it unboxed, boot it up, and we'll run a couple benchmarks on it and go from there. So let me hit the record here and go in 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, it's Lon Seidman. We've got another unboxing. Today we're going to open up the Pixel 4a from Google, and we're going to see what this new mid-range phone is all about here. We looked at the Pixel 3a last year, and I was very pleased with that. Now, before we unbox this, I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that this came in free of charge from Google. However, all the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Nobody is paying for this unboxing, nor is anyone reviewing it or approving it before it gets uploaded. All right, so let's get into the box here and see what we got. So this is the phone. I think it's coming in a couple different colors, and this is the black version, and it looks very, very nice. It feels a lot thinner than the old one did, so that is good. Camera bump here on the back. It's a single lens camera, so you don't have a telephoto or a wide-angle lens. Got a flash there, bit of a bump on there, as you can see. And then we've got the fingerprint sensor. It feels a lot lighter than the old one, and let me power it up real quick. And while that is powering up, we can take a quick look at the specs on the new phone. This has got a 5.8-inch display. It's an OLED display. And I think the phone feels smaller than last year's version, but the screen is a little bigger. And I think that's because they got rid of the bezels, and they've got a little punch out there for the front camera. The processor on this one is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 730. They've got a good amount of RAM on here, 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. I think that's a really good value for the price point, which I believe comes in at around $349. So let that boot up. Nice display, really, really nice. So very, very nice. Okay, so let's take a look and see what else is in the box here. We have some manuals, or at least the little startup guide here. Gives you all the basics. You got a SIM popper. We have the charger here, and this is a USB Type-C charger. And I believe this is a fast charger. It'll go 9 volts at 2 amps, so you could charge up a little bit quicker. Got our USB Type-C cable here, and we've got a USB-A to USB-C adapter in there as well. All right. Well, what I'm going to do now is get the phone set up. Again, I'm very pleased with the build quality, very lightweight. Definitely feels more modern than the last one for sure. We're going to get this thing set up and booted up, and then I'm going to have a full review on my main channel at Lon.TV where we'll step through everything. We'll take a look at the camera, we'll look at its performance, and see how it does as a everyday use phone. So that's going to do it for now. We'll be back again soon. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching. All right, how about that? A one-take wonder. Isn't that great? I love when I can do it all in one take. So we got, let's see how big that file was. Because I can just upload that one, put the little outro on there. Yeah, 2.5 gigs and we're good. Okay. So, but I'm not done with all of you yet, because we're going to just set it up now and go from there. Josh Lynn, thank you very much for your Super Chat contribution. It is much appreciated, especially given that I was not able to get any work done this week because I had no power or internet. That was not cool at all. Let me zoom my overhead camera in just a tad here. So, very attractive phone. Now, one of the things that I've noticed, and this is the same on my iPhones also, is that the OLED screen, especially when you have something white on here like this, it'll get a little yellow when you go off center with it, and that's just the nature of the OLED. But the OLED, when you're looking at it directly, just looks so nice on these things. So we'll see where it goes. Sparsh Kishore wants to know India availability. I don't think it's available anywhere just yet. I think it's coming out on the 20th, if I'm not mistaken, so it should be here pretty soon. Oh, it's only going to come out with one color. All right, I'll have to make an adjustment on that when we upload the video. And I'm just going to get myself connected to my network here. And we'll go from there. Okay. So, Joe says you can have any color you want as long as it's black. Anthony Bianco says, I hate this trend towards high screen ratio sizes. I wish they went back to 16:9 or 18:9. You can live with that. The one thing that I like about the OLED displays is that at least when you're looking at a 16:9 video, because the OLED blacks are true black, it doesn't distract as much, I think, as some of the other screens might typically do. Right now, it's just checking for its updates, and I am sure there will be one. There is always an update. And Billy makes a very good point about the fingerprint sensors versus the face unlock, because yes, it is very annoying now on my iPhone. I may actually just take this out with me when I go out and just leave the iPhone at home, because one of the frustrations that I also have is the fact that if you're trying to use the face sensor to unlock and you've got a mask on, what do, right? You got to keep typing in your account every time. It is quite annoying, and I am with you on that for sure. All right, so what I'm doing now is just logging into my Google account. And this feels such like a much smaller phone than the last one. It's here. Let me get this put in here first, and then I'll show you. So it almost feels a little cramped to type on because the screen is just like right to the edge of the display. And in fairness, my iPhone kind of feels like that too. Although when you put a big case on the phone, it does widen it a little bit. It makes it a little bit easier to type on it. All right, I've got to go and just do my two-factor here real quick on my other device. And then we will get it set up and put some apps on it. And I'll probably get a million notifications on there, right? Because it just like drops all the notifications ever. Two more super chats coming in. Thank you, Seanflay98 and Recipe Bob. Recipe Bob said, Eversource told me to send this to you as an apology. Yeah, thank you. So Eversource is my power company, and I've been out of power all week for the most part. All right, let's just go through the rest of this stuff. Bear with me for 1 second here. And now it's activating. It's activating Google Fi, although I don't believe I'm a subscriber. All right, we'll do that later. Okay. And we'll go on from there. Yeah, I can't get Google Fi at my house either because I don't get anything here but Verizon. And I think they're using all right, so we're going to do the fingerprint sensor. So let's, I'll show you this part here. So we'll go to camera 2 here. Hit next. I'm going to touch the sensor. So I'm touching the back of the sensor here with my finger. All right, fingerprint added. Let's see, keep going to get your phone fully set up or leave now and get a reminder. Let's leave now and get a reminder because I just want to get into it. And then we have a bunch of additional apps that it can download. We'll probably use all of those, so we'll go ahead and do that. But I like that, you get 128 gigs of storage and 6 gigs of RAM. That's pretty good, right? I don't think the other one had that much. All right, all set. We are ready to go, folks. All right, so I'm just going to let this thing settle down and install all of its apps and whatever else it wants to do. And then I'm going to grab the 3D Mark benchmark that we like to run. And somebody wants to change the theme to dark mode. I wonder if you can do that on here. Let me see. I'm sure you can. Let's see. Airplane mode, night lights. Must be in the settings somewhere, right? You know what it is? I'm such an old timer on this stuff that I like the white background because it reminds me of the old Macs. That was my thing. Let's see. If I go to display, maybe. Yeah, here we go. I can put it on dark theme. That looks nice. Ooh, that looks super nice. Look how nice that looks. Here, I'll give you the overhead on that. So that's dark mode. And then I can go back to light mode if I want. What I have been doing with my iPhone is I have it going to dark mode at night. So after like 10, it goes to dark mode. And they have a couple things on here that are kind of neat. While I'm just waiting for the apps to install. Here's one thing that I really like on this, which is the recorder. So here, I'm just going to start talking. So I'm just going to start talking here, and as I talk, and we've looked at this before on the prior version of the Pixel, and this one, of course, does it as well. And for some reason, this is like the best transcription ever. And oddly, I don't get this level of transcription when I'm just using the phone, right? The other issue that I run into with it is that, like Google Voice, when you get your Google voicemail messages, they always don't come out very nicely. But this is perfect. This is like one of the most perfect transcription things you'll ever see. It's really amazing. And what it's doing here is it's recording an audio file at the same time I'm recording the audio. And you can then go back in and search through all of your prior things there. So that's pretty cool. Very neat. But I have to say, like, first impressions wise, it feels very modern. And this is a reminder, because I need to do this on a frequent basis here because this is a live stream. Google did send this to the channel free of charge. Pretty cool. That's the transcription mode. And then I can just give it a title. I should have recorded that, actually. But I think I'll do that during the regular review. All right, we'll just save it real quick. And then you can go back in and look at it. And then I think I could click on a word. Yeah, so check this out. If I click. They always don't come out very nicely, but this is perfect. This is like one of the most perfect transcription things you'll ever see. It's really amazing. And, oh, that's pretty cool. Very neat. But I have to say, like, first impressions wise, isn't that cool? So I just like that does that. And this could be useful if you're in a class and you want to have a transcription of the professor or whatever. Good stuff. And it works really, really well. Okay. Let's check for Android updates. Let's see what we've got for Android updates. So let me do that real quick, and we'll see if there's any updates on here. About phone. I think it's you do it in there, right? Let me go back here and see if I can find the right spot. That system. Where's the updates? Am I in the wrong spot? Apps and notifications. Let's go. Let's search for updates here. System updates. Here we go. Okay. So let's go in and take a system update. And it's telling me right now that my system is up to date. Let's check again, though. Yep, we're fine. I expect that because we're not at release yet, I expect that we'll probably see an update when it does, when it does come out. Harry is awesome. All right, did that. Google Nest Hubs do the instant transcription. Yeah, I think this is not a new feature. It's been on like the Pixel 3a does this also. So if you can't wait, the Pixel 3a will do that. The Pixel 4 does that. So it's good stuff. Bryant Mitchell wants to know, would I recommend a case for this phone? I would recommend a case on any phone just because the front of them is glass. Now this one is, let's take a look here. I think it's got Gorilla Glass. Yeah, this has got, okay, so the back is a polycarbonate. So that's going to be a little more durable than glass would be. And the front is Gorilla Glass 3. So this is kind of your standard Gorilla Glass front. But you can never go wrong with a case. And I'll tell you what, I was outside with my iPhone. I was making sure my new Wise outdoor camera, which is going to get reviewed this week, I was getting that set up during the tropical storm, and I dropped my iPhone. But I had this super durable case on it, and nothing happened. And the fall that it took, it would have cracked the back, or it would have totally cracked the phone, and nothing happened. So there you go. So I would suggest, whenever possible, to put a case on if you can swing it. AJ Horning, I am doing just fine. Thank you for asking. And I'll check out the headphone jack, and thanks for your feedback, Alberto. I'll double check and see. Harry is awesome. It does ship with 10, and I would imagine they'll probably update it for a year. They're pretty good about updates on these too. So, all right, so let's try the fingerprint unlock. There it goes. Yep, just let you right in. So let's try it again here. I'll just turn it off and then rest my finger there. Yeah, it's pretty quick. So I'll turn it off here. Yep, super fast. So nice and fast. Yeah, that's why I think, Joe, I'm going to probably, so Joe's saying Android 11 is supposed to be out before it is released. And that's why I think I might just wait to review this, because everyone jumps on this stuff, and I may just wait until it comes out. Because I like to review things when people can actually buy them most of the time. I know I haven't always done that, but in this case, because everyone else has already reviewed it. I think we might do that. 3 years of updates, they're saying on this one. Jones wants to know, does it feel cheap like the old Samsung phones? I don't think it feels cheap. I will say that the last one felt more robust, and I think it's because the last one was thicker than this one is, because it's very thin. And the polycarbonate backing here does lessen the weight. So if that's something that feels cheap to you, it's going to feel that way. It doesn't have the same heft that the other one did. I'm just going to put it in my wireless charger here and see if it charges. I don't think it's got wireless charging. Yeah, no wireless charging. So that's not going to work. But it's got the USB-C charge on there, so that should be fine. And we got to test the battery life and all that stuff. All right, so you know what? What I want to do first here is let's put on the 3D Mark test. And let's see how it does with that. Hey, is that not on here anymore? Where'd it go? I don't see 3D Mark. What the heck? Why do they do this to me? Huh. All right, so I need to search for that. We have to grab the APK somewhere. Why do they do this to me? You know, this is the problem, is that I try to do like a lot of consistency with my reviews. And if something isn't available, it gets really complicated when they get rid of that stuff. And I think it could just be that this phone is new, and that might be why. But I have an APK somewhere of the 3D Mark test, which I'll grab in a second. But let me go and look at, see what's going on with this. Yes, the 3D Mark is still out there. And I'm just looking on the website. So it says it's compatible with some of my phones. So why wouldn't it work with the Pixel 4a? Probably because the Pixel 4a is not available yet. So what we're going to have to do here is I'm pretty sure I have it up on my website from the last time we had this problem. So let me grab that real quick here. I'm just going to go on the web and check out. Here, let me do a quick web browse here so you can get a feel for that. So let's do a little NASA, right? NASA.gov. NASA.gov. There's a lot going on NASA.gov lately, right, folks? I mean, we've got all this stuff launching and landing, and so there you go. A little lesson on gravity assist. Boom. Cool. Very fast. All right, so now we got to grab, so I'm pretty sure that I have a copy of 3D Mark's APK on my server. Let's see if I still have it up there. Yeah, I do. Perfect. So we're going to download an APK and just sideload this sucker. Yeah, great. I got to go and set up the security settings on this also. All right, let's do that real quick. See what happens during these live streams? Nothing ever works right. It's always something. Lepidolite 2009 wants to know if it has face unlock, and that's a good question. Let's take a look. It has frequent faces, which I don't think is the same thing. I don't think it has face unlock. And if you recall, I think no, that's right. The Pixel 4 had face unlock, but the 3a didn't, and this doesn't either. And the Pixel 4 has got that radar thing also. This doesn't have that. Because the Pixel 4 would do face unlock, but it also worked when your eyes were closed. But I think they fixed that. And MacStock says it gets 3 years of software updates, so it should get 11, 12, and 13. Harry is awesome. I don't like iPhones, but the SE has too big of bezels, so I'm glad the Pixel 4a has none. Yeah, I just gave, it's funny, I had an SE here as a backup, and my sister needed a new phone, so I let her buy it for me at a good price. But yeah, this is definitely more modern looking. The SE is kind of based on the 7, which was based on the 6, right? So it's a little different. Let me go into settings here. I just have to go and set up my side loading preferences here. So let's go to System. They keep moving things around on me. I use Android a lot, but not enough. You know what I mean? All right, security update. Because usually it'll ask you if you're okay with the trusted sources thing. They changed this? Everything gets changed on here. So I downloaded an APK, but it's saying that I can't open it. Oops, let me go back to my downloads folder. Yeah, 3D Mark APK, if I tap on it, it says it can't open the file. And it used to be like a trusted sources thing. So I got to figure this out real quick here. Unless I've got the wrong version. Maybe that's the 32-bit version, and this is a 64-bit phone. So let me grab that real quick and see if we can figure this out. What I'm trying to do, folks, is just get the 3D Mark benchmark on here, because that's often a good place for me to start in my experimentation with a phone, is that. And what I'll also do in the interim here is download the Dolphin emulator, because that's something I want to check out also. So the Pixel 3a was able to run the Dolphin emulator pretty well. And I want to see if this one can as well. So that's installed. And then I've got my app for my Synology NAS device on here. I upgraded to a different Synology NAS. So that one's been a good move. I have a solid state cache on it, and that's been working pretty nicely. All right, so let me just go into my emulators and grab my GameCube stuff. So I've got Wave Race. I like to do Wave Race. It's just a good, nice looking game, and you can get a good feel as to whether or not it'll do the job. All right, so we'll download that. And now let's go to the 3D Mark benchmark page here. And we'll see if I can find the 64-bit version. I can't remember if they bifurcated it out between 32 and 64. Yeah, so this one is universal. Okay, so it should work on either. So it could just be a security setting. Yeah, this one is 64, and it's 32. It's like it's a universal. So if anyone has any tips on side loading from a web download, please let me know. Although I might be able to get at it a different way. Let's go into the Files app here. I'm sure there's a Files app. Yeah. Maybe I can do it through this app. Downloads. Oh, I see what happened. It was a zip file. That's why. Okay, so let me grab, that is what happens. So you know what I'll do then is I will just copy this to my NAS and we'll grab it that way. That is what happens. So bear with me, folks. And everything in my network is all screwed up. Like it's been, you get a power outage and just everything gets messed up. And the other problem is that I also changed the router out while the internet was out, because I did that video we uploaded last night. So that's a whole nother layer of complexity. Even though I just migrated my settings over from the old router, I'm sure there's something screwy going on with that too. So it's been, it's just been one of those weeks where everything I wanted to get done could not get done. And now I'm like a week behind. So I was going to do this stream like on Tuesday or Wednesday, but here we are on a Saturday. But that's fine. See, the problem though is that the power company will get me to, here we go, now we're good. Allow from this source. The power company will make me pay for the repair, right? But I'm responsible for anything that they break because of their inability to keep my lights on. So that's how that works. All right. So now we got 3D Mark loaded up here. Perfect. Okay, so now let me go back to the chat here and see what I'm missing. All right. So we're going to go and skip all this stuff. And what we're going to do is I usually run the slingshot test. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Check it out. It's like moving around here. So let's download that real quick. And what's nice about this test is that this kind of gives you a way to measure one phone against another, because I've got I've got like 4 or 5 years of data from just the devices that we've reviewed here on the channel that have all run this test. And what I do is I run the unlimited test. So, the demo is going to run, which is fine. We can talk about it as the demo is running. The speaker on it's pretty good too, by the way. I don't think it's stereo though. So David Bound had his Comcast business internet was down until Friday morning. Yeah, I didn't get mine back until last night, essentially. David's devices, well, their Pixel 4a 5G version is supposed to be bigger. Yeah, I think that's what I've been reading too, is that it's going to have a bigger 5G version. And David on Amazon's chat also says that it's just a mono speaker on this, but it sounds good. Good sounding speaker. David says that the Comcast issue that he had was the main node in Brantford went down. But it went down at 2 a.m. Yes, that was exactly my experience here in my town too. I think what it is that they don't have like, oh, this is, the video froze up on here, by the way. They don't have backup power. And in fairness to Comcast, they have all these little boxes. I'll take a picture of mine around the corner for the wrap-up video coming up. They have all these amplifier boxes that are up on the poles, and that's what they use to power the actual amplifiers along the way. And so they'd have to bring generators out to each of those because of the nature of their network to keep everything going. Yeah, the video on this just froze up, by the way. So the sound is still going, but the video is stuck. But they have backup batteries on all of those things, but when those die, you're done. So that's what happened to us. TechFlow wants to know if they scheduled my install yet. Not yet. I did hear from them before the storm hit, and they were waiting on, there was a whole bunch of scheduling going on. I guess they have a no in-home policy at the moment because of the pandemic, but they were going to try to work around that, so hopefully pretty soon. Yeah, we got to restart the test here. This froze up. So what I'm going to do is run it without the demo this time, and then we'll just get the regular test to run here. Okay, there we go. Now what's going to happen now is that it's just going to run, you're not going to see the thing we just saw. It's just going to run the demo, basically rendering without waiting for the display. And this is how we run it on all of the ones that we do, so we're able to get a good sense. But it could just be that this really isn't compatible with it, which is probably why I couldn't install it. Because usually I would see something going on by now. Yeah, and David, this happens every time around here in Connecticut whenever we have a bad storm and the power's out. And what gets me, it becomes one of these things like, oh no, it's their, they blame Eversource, and then Eversource says, well, it's, up to them to have backup power, and da, 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 da. What we do have, the Verizon cell towers were good throughout. I just don't have a good Verizon cell tower exactly where my house is. And actually what I ended up doing is I did a tour of my town trying to figure out the best places to park to upload. So get this, I had, so perfect example was last night's video that I uploaded. So I didn't have power back. I'm going to reset the phone. I didn't have power back when I was ready to upload that video. So what I had to do was find a place to upload from, because based on my location, I only get about a megabit up, and most of the time it's lower than that because I'm hooked up to some like rural tower that's over that way. And as it turns out, I've got a really good tower, which is kind of at the end of my road, but I'm up on a hill, and so I'm above that, and the hill blocks my connection to it, but that tower is doing like 30 or 40 megabits up, which is great to know. So in the future, if I've got a super fast thing to upload, I'll just go drive down to the end of the road and park in there's a park at the end of the road. If I park there, I can get 30 or 40 megabits up. And then this other one, which is in my industrial park in town, that one is like 60 megabits upstream sometimes. It's crazy fast. So I've got some options for uploading. So basically, the Verizon tower is 6 times faster than my current Comcast connection when it's working. The problem, though, is that on my plan, I can tether only up to 15 gigs. So I could upload maybe 3 or 4 of my videos, and then I'm done. So it's not better in that sense because of the restrictions, but it's kind of neat to know that that's there. All right, so the demo is off. Let's go and set this to unlimited, and let's just run that again and see what happens. There it goes. Okay. So, and I don't tend to knock these phones too much when they arrive pre-release because there's always some update that fixes whatever. So if we get to the release date and it's still acting up, we'll take a look. Now this test, you're not seeing anything animating on screen because it runs it all in the background, and it's kind of I think a better way to run this test. Now you'll also notice, because this is the nature of the display, this is a 16:9 image. And one of the things that I really like about these OLED displays is you can see just how, even though we've got display going to the edge of the phone, it looks like the screen just ends there, right? You see how that looks? It's really nice with the OLED to get that perfect black. David's devices ordered on Amazon here. He ordered the Note 20 Ultra, so he has high hopes for that device, but he should have bought this one. He's dropping Verizon and switching to Spectrum Mobile. It's much better in his area. Go figure. My son's on Spectrum and his service is better than Verizon. And I think it's a matter of just where, like what the service offering is in your particular location. So I was on AT&T. So we have a history of bad weather here. So I was on AT&T for a long time. And I went to AT&T because remember when the iPhone first came out in 2007, you could only get AT&T on it. So I was on AT&T from 2007 to about 2012. We had Hurricane Irene come through here in 2011, knocked out, just like now, knocked out power for a week. And what happened was AT&T was not putting backup generation on their towers, and Verizon was. So my wife had a Verizon phone, and she had service in the house, and I didn't. I said, that's it. They got backup generators installed at each of their tower locations. That was all I needed, and then I made the switch. But at least you have a choice there, right? The other reason I switched is that at my house, AT&T didn't work when I was in the house. It did not work anywhere in the house. Verizon works in most of the rooms of the house, but being up on this hill is a big problem. And I didn't realize how high my hill was until I bought a drone, and I sent it up for the first time, and I kind of flew it towards that tower, and I was like, wow, I can't believe how much higher, even with the, accounting for the altitude of the drone, I couldn't believe how much higher I was versus the tower, which was crazy. TechFlood says the workaround to Verizon's tethering limit is to get a MoFi 4500 router and set the TTL to 65, and that'll make it look like it's on device data. Well, that's a good tip. I should get one of those. All right. Oh, it's done already. That was quick. Okay, so we've got a result. So now I'm going to go and load up. And by the way, if you want to follow along, go to Lon.TV/benchmarks. Benchmark? Let me see what the address is for that. Lon.TV/benchmarks. So BENCH MARKS, benchmarks. And that is my Google Doc. And I'll share my screen with you also so you can see what I'm looking at here. And what I have been doing and you'll see, by the way, if you go to the 3D Mark Slingshot Unlimited tab, I'm just waiting for my screen capture thing to pull up here. You will see pretty much every Android or iOS device listed there that I have reviewed since 2013-ish. So that's why I like to run this test, because I have that basis of comparison over a very long period of time. So let me go over to grab my screen output here. Isn't this weird? I got some issue with this new router that's not, like, it's not, the MDNS doesn't seem to be working. because it should be finding this. Oh, it just crashed. No wonder why it's not showing up. Let's try this again. There we go. Okay, display 1. There we go. Okay, so let me pull up my screen. So let's take a look. And what I want to do first is go and find the Pixel 3a. Okay, so here's the Pixel 3a. And note the score. Let me zoom in so you can see it better. Note the score, 2,528. And this one, 3,671. And the graphics score is better. So we have 25 FPS versus 17. We have, on the second graphics test here, we have 12 FPS versus 8. And check out the physics scores. And this is, the physics test is mostly, CPU related. But check out, here, I'll select these 3 here. Physics part 1, 63.5 versus 45.9. 34.9 versus 25.10, and 19.8 versus 14.2. So this is, it's a better performing phone, which you would hope for. And sometimes we don't always see the phones performing better. So that is good. So let's insert a row below here, and I'll just type these results in real quick. So there you go. And this is the Pixel 4a. And I should probably be consistent here. We'll call it Google Pixel 4a. So David's devices used to work for Nextel. We used to have Nextel phones at my old job for the truck drivers. Those things were tanks. We had one phone that a guy left in a snowbank for, like it was stuck in a snowbank. It fell out of his pocket, and we declared it lost and bought him a new one. And then when the snow melted, there was his phone, and it still worked. It was these big, rugged yellow phones. The thing was awesome. 34.90 FPS and 19.80 FPS. Yeah, so this one is kind of performing where the OnePlus 3 was. It's close to the iPhone 7 Plus, sort of, although the iPhones always have better graphics performance, but it's close to that. It's close to that. But it's good, though. You can see the real, the difference here between the 3A and the 4A. It's a nice bump in performance. So that's good. And another thing I like to look at when we're talking about performance is emulation. So let's have a look at that real quick. And we'll see what we get. Oh, so DC, I never had the Pixel 3, so I don't have that one on my list. And by the way, if you go to Lon.TV/benchmark, you can see that. But why don't we look at where it is against the 4, because I do have the Pixel 4. And the Pixel 4, which is the XL that they sent us last year, that one is pretty much at the top of my list. So that one came in at what you see here. So the Pixel 4, and this is done on purpose, by the way. They're not going to make this one perform better or close to the flagship. But the Pixel 4 is up here, 7,730. And the frame rates are about double what you get. Right, so they're 52.8 on that first graphics test, and the 4A here got 25. Second test, 32 versus 12, 90.5 versus 63.5. CPU also better, right? But that's the difference between flagship and not flagship. So now what we'll do is let me just put this on Do Not Disturb because I'm getting emails. So one thing that bugs me when I set up a new Android phone, I get all these push notifications from Gmail, and I get a ton of mail. It just keeps coming in, I don't need to be notified. I used to like that about the BlackBerry. When I first got the BlackBerry, it was so cool that I could get notified every time I got an email. But it got old quick because it just became like this thing where I'm constantly, I check my phone enough as it is, so I didn't need a buzzing thing to remind me to check it every 5 seconds. All right, so let's go and load up the Dolphin emulator real quick. And let's take a look at that. So we'll go in and add a game. I've got one right here in my downloads folder. So select that directory. I'll give you the overhead here, might be a little easier. So we've got Wave Race. And by the way, this ran pretty well on the old one. So let's see how it does on this one. And it looks like my stream health is suffering once again. So we might be hitting our limit with Comcast. Libadite wants to know, does it refresh at 90? No, this is only 60 on this one. All right, wait for the, there we go. And I think I can pull down, let's see if I can get the overlay. I want to get the frames per second on here to overlay. I should probably have to get out of the game to do that, so let's do that real quick. I just want to set up the, I want to get the frame rate on the screen. And let's see if I got it in dual core, so that's good. All right, so we're good there. Oops. I'm just looking for the option for the frame rate. I think there's an option for frame rate, isn't there? Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I think that's the one problem. Yeah, nobody likes so I got a comment here from where is it? From CVL about the aspect ratios on these phones. Yeah, nobody likes bezels, so it blows up the aspect ratio, and then when you're playing a 4x3 game like this, it totally kills it. All right, so let's get this going here. Yeah, I thought there was a way to get the frames per second up on screen, but I guess not. It's a little bit of skipping on the audio, but it seems like it's doing pretty good. So let's see what happens when we go into a game real quick here. Oh, DC, thank you for running that benchmark. If you don't mind, why don't you send me, email me at Lon@Lon.TV, email me all the details of that test, and I'll add it to the spreadsheet. That'd be really helpful, just to kind of, because we usually put up a chart and we compare everything, and we'll give you credit for the benchmark too. So go for it. Oh, Ken Driggers has a great question about the Shadow PC service. I am using it, and I have not yet edited video on it. However, I was able to install. I installed DaVinci Resolve on it. That worked. And you know what else works on it? vMix works on it. In fact, I did a stream for my school system the other night using that with vMix. It was great. All right, here we go. Yeah, it seems to work. It's not easy to control with the touch screen, but it's running pretty good. Yeah, not bad. Just the controls are terrible with the touch screen. It kills me because this game controls so awesome, but it's just the touch screen without that tactile feel, and you can't get really at the shoulder buttons very easily. I got to hook up my 8-bit Do controller. But yeah, look at that. Looks good. Not bad, folks. Now, again, the other one was good, too. So it feels, you know, a little better. How about that? Good stuff. All right, so I think we can exit the game there. That's pretty good. You get the haptic feedback, too, on the GameCube emulator. Good stuff. Yeah, this performs good. I mean, it's, you know, it's an entry-level phone. Well, it's sort of entry. I guess we should say this is mid-range, because entry-level phones are now like $100, right? But it's good. So CVL uses Shadow. He says gaming performance is very good in Southern California. Yeah, Shadow, I'm going to do a whole video on it. Maybe we'll do that this week. I got to see what my week is, with the school reopening stuff. I'm going to be called in to help a lot of stuff. There's meetings left and right. So hopefully I'll have time. I definitely have been meaning to do a video on it. And I've been really impressed with it because, so in case you're not familiar with it, it's a service that will give you a cloud server that you can just log into, and it's running Windows 10. It's not that expensive, and it works exceptionally well. And like I said, we had a meeting. We've been doing our school board meetings remotely, and this was a big one for parents, and we wanted to make sure that people could come in and be able to view the presentation. And I was concerned that we would fill up our Google Meet room. So I set up on Shadow a stream running, so vMix, the same software I'm running here locally. I was running that on Shadow, and then we were essentially streaming that to Amazon's got a great new streaming platform. It's like a white label streaming platform. So it's called the Interactive Video Service, and it's from Amazon AWS. And what it does is it gives you an address that you can always stream to. And so the address that you hand out to people never changes. You could have a page on your website, and when you're live, you're there. And then when you're not live, there's nothing there. And it's not that expensive if you're doing just standard def broadcasts, like 3 cents per viewer hour or whatever, or 3 cents per hour per viewer. But you don't pay, if somebody pops in for 20 minutes and leaves, you only pay for the 20 minutes that they were in. So I was streaming from Shadow to that because my power was going in and out, my internet was going in and out, and at one point I dropped off the network, but the Shadow server was still running in its data center. And it was great. It was pretty cool. Yeah, it was good. It's good. I'm going to do a video on it. I do want to do some video editing with that. So I will keep you posted if that works. I wonder why people have to come in here and just like fill up the chat room with nonsense. It's just like, what is that? You don't have like, that's what you want to do? That's fine. But yeah, I will do that. I should try to do some video editing with it also. I'll try to get some video pushed up to that server. You don't get a lot of storage on it, so you get like on the base level 256 gigs of storage. So video editing will be a little tough on it, but I think for basic streaming and stuff, it should be good. The speed of it, you get a gigabit down to the Shadow server, and it runs at about 50 megabits. About 100 megabits up, I think, is what you get. But that's inclusive of what you're streaming out to your machine that's viewing the screen. The one thing that I've been encountering with Shadow is that occasionally the stream to me interrupts, but that could just be the nature of my connection here. I don't know, but it's been good. I haven't played, and it's funny, I actually haven't played any games on it yet. So I'm the opposite of CVL, who's been doing nothing but games. But it's funny because I had reached out to them because I'm paying for the service because I could use it, and I had reached out to them to see if I could, because I was waiting online. So I was like, hey, can I get in a little bit earlier maybe if I could do a video on it? And so they reached out to me and they said, we started with a gaming approach, but it's more than just for gaming. So it's a neat platform. You get, again, a Windows server sitting in a data center, and it's running Windows 10. So it's good stuff. Lewis wants to know, how much do you pay for licensing in Shadow? So I'm guessing you're assuming the vMix licensing. On vMix, I'm running with the trial version. But I don't know. So this is the gray area, because remember, a lot of these game companies have been putting up restrictions about your license and whether or not you're allowed to play the game on a cloud server. So that's where it's going to get iffy, because they can't enforce that on Shadow like they were doing on GeForce Now, because GeForce Now is, you know what I mean? Like there's a process by which they have to get approval from the game publisher. On this, because you're just being given a cloud server, they're kind of hands off on it. We'll see how it goes. So I've got about another 20 minutes before my kids come back. So what else do you guys want to see on this? We benchmarked it. We did some web browsing. I'm not going to be able to do many photos at the moment unless you wanted to see pictures of the stuff behind me. So let me know. Alan Welk says the new Pixel 4a is cheaper than the Pixel 3a. I think it is. Yeah, I think the Pixel 3a was like $399. This is $349. I'll tell you what, for the specs on this, I think it's a good deal. I mean, you get 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of storage. And if you like this size, and I do prefer this size, because I've had big phones. I don't like big phones. I like a phone this size. I very much like this. I would love, you know what they should do, and we'll see what the Pixel 5 offerings are. I would love for the Pixel 5 to be in this same exact form factor, but with 3 cameras on the back. Because I'll tell you what, like having that ultra wide lens is so useful on the back of the phone. And I use my iPhone for a lot of video shooting, especially B-roll footage, because I have that mix of cameras on the back. The one thing I'm noticing though is that this case, I may get a new case for my phone, because this case, the mics on the phone are picking up my fingers handling the case. Even if I just hold it like this, it was picking up like some rattling from the case impacting the mic. Maybe I've got some dirt in there or something, but that's something I may want to check out. So let's see, Fortnite and YouTube. I guess I could do YouTube real quick. So Fortnite, we got to do that whole side loading thing, right? Maybe we'll install that while we do the other thing. The good news is that although my upstream speed is slow here, my download is pretty quick. So let's grab Fortnite here. I haven't played Fortnite in a while, actually. I have to get it on the Epic Game Store app, and then once I do that, here, let me show you what I'm going through here. All right, step 1, the download pop-up will appear. So we need to, I'm surprised like people are actually going through all of this. Do you want to keep the Epic? Okay. And open settings, and we gotta just do, wow, from the source, back, install. Let's see what else we got for comments on here. By the way, if any of my moderators are in, feel free to moderate. Oh, David's Devices says he thought Fortnite was in the store now. Let's take a look and see if it's in there. Go back to the Google Play Store here. Google Play. Where did Google Play go? There it is. Oh yeah, there it is. They did put it in the store. They must have settled whatever issues they had. This is how you can tell that I'm an iPhone user. I don't know what the day-to-day is on some of this stuff. Thank you, David's Devices, over on the Amazon chat for that. And thank you also for those on the other side, that YouTube chat that suggested that. All right, so let's open that up. And let's have a look. Okay. Now I've got to go in and find my Epic Game Store accounts. And I have one. By the way, I've got like a bunch of PC games in there now, because they were giving away some good games on the PC side for a while. So that was pretty fun. Let me go into my... Yeah, I got to say, Stadia, you know, from a service standpoint, the engineering on Stadia, there's some discussion of Stadia going on in the chat room, by the way. The engineering on Stadia is good. I think they have a good product there. My issue with it has been that, you know, you got to do the monthly fee and you got to buy the games, and it just seems like it's a, I mean, I guess if I didn't have the PC hardware, then I would maybe look at that as something to play with, perhaps. Okay, so I've got my thing on here. Bear with me for 1 second, folks. I'm just in need of my Epic Game Store login credentials here. Okay, that's what it was. All right. So I use a password manager, and the password manager is great, but when you have complex passwords and I don't have things installed on here, then it gets to be a problem. Oh, uh-oh, somebody's here. Nope, nobody's here. Perfect. Okay. I got the Wise outdoor cam going now, so that's been a nice addition. And we're going to review that this week. Maybe I'll do the Wise Outdoor Camera and Shadow this week. Maybe that's what my goal will be, to get those two things done. How does that sound to you, everybody? My mind is going to be in a million places. And it's, so I'm on the school board. So, you think about this, your role as a school board member. Then you also have to think about your role as a parent. And it's a complex, it's going to be a complex period of time. All right, so it's got to download, by the way, I may not have time. We'll see if my family gets back in time here. It's going to be 8.2 gigabytes it has to download. So it might take a little bit of time. That's a big game. That's a big game. So Lewis is wondering what password manager I am using. I am using LastPass, primarily because I started using it and never switched off. So I've been using that. And it gets a little more complex because I've also been using the Apple keychain a little bit, so we've got that going on. What's neat about LastPass, though, is that it's able to, because I had to share an account with my wife on something, and the account sharing was really clever with it because she never saw the password, but she could log into the account. I thought that was really cool. I forgot exactly what the whole process was, but she had to set up like an account on LastPass, a free one, and then she could get the password from me, and it would log her in, but she couldn't see what the password was. I thought that's neat. So, yeah, but I like LastPass. Alan Welk says I should do a video about Graphene OS running on the Pixel 3a. Send me some info on that. I haven't seen that before. I'd like to learn more about that. DC147 says manually copying and typing complex passwords is no bueno. Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, if I should have just installed LastPass on the phone, maybe that would have made it easier. I didn't think about that. I could just do that. That would work. And actually, it's gotten better. So for a long time, the Android phones would play nicely with LastPass, and the other phones did not, like the iPhone. So the iPhone, you can never like automatically summon LastPass. They had one way you could do it. So if you were on a website, you could do the share thing, and then it would pull LastPass up for the website, but none of the apps worked. But now the apps work with it. But Apple is always pushing you to use their password manager. So I've got to be really diligent about it. But my wife has started using, she's been using Apple's password manager on her phone, which is fine. I mean, anything that gets people to develop good password hygiene is A-OK in my book. Recipe Bob says he uses RoboForm. It is older, but he got a good deal on a 3-year subscription. DC147 says, yes, I have LastPass Premium. So I do pay. It's like an annual fee. It's not much. And I'm happy to do that because it's something that's a big part of my workflow. And I've got like 2-factor on LastPass also. So I have 2-factor everything whenever possible. And I've got a great app on the iPhone for my 2-factor stuff. It's called OTP Off. And it works with my watch, so I can often just get my 2-factor passwords on my watch if I need to, and paste it over to the computer just by hitting a button. It's pretty cool. Yeah, iOS 12, as DC147 points out, was when they started doing that. And we're almost done downloading LastPass. I bet you I could download it in the background here, so let's take a look at YouTube real quick and see how that works. The one thing I like about the iPhone now is if I drag down on the screen, I can jump into stuff quickly. And I'm gonna have to jump off in a minute because I'm getting phone calls and stuff. It's almost time for me to call it quits here, but we'll play around a little bit more here. All right, so hey, let's do a little meta thing on YouTube. Let's look at, so this is YouTube, and we'll watch myself live. And if I can go, let's see, so that doesn't seem to be detecting my desire to go full screen here. What if I have the lock on? Let's see. Do I have the orientation lock on here? No. Oh yeah, auto rotate was off. There we go. Okay. Oops, there we go. Yeah. So we got the background playing there. Cool. Yeah, it seems to work pretty nicely. All right, let's see where Fortnite's at. It's still downloading. Let's give it another minute or two. And we'll see how Fortnite runs, and then I got to call it quits. Don't cross the streams, they say. Yeah, I opened a wormhole. CVL says to him, the killer app of LastPass is the ability to set up a dead man button. It is kind of morbid, but still very cool. You can set it up so your family gets... Oh, yeah, that's right. They have that feature, too. Right, so if I ever... I got to set that up, actually. I've been thinking about that. Because I'm 43. Who knows, And I've got, like... I do all the banking in the house, so I should probably set that up. So, by the way, the next thing I'm thinking about going solar. And it's going to cost me a fortune. But part of me just wants to stick it to that electric company. Tell them, say that's it. We're done. We're done. Because here's what I'm thinking with this, is that, and I got to size it out. I don't know if it's even feasible, but I think, and I don't even know what it's going to cost, but if I could size out a solar array that could generate, so I want to be able to generate more than I'm using during the day. And of course, the usage will vary based on, or the generation will vary based on clouds and snowstorms and the time of the year. But look at what it would cost to size out a system that could cover the day-to-day electrical needs of the home and charge a bank of power walls at the same time. And then have those power walls get me through the night. I don't know if it's going to be possible, given that I run my business out of here also, but it's something I'm thinking about, because I would love to just go like off grid. And I've got a generator, and at this point, the electric rates in my state have gotten so high, you could probably run your generator less than what it would cost to send to the power company. So like the generator could be the backup in case we didn't put enough into the power wall. So if I could size it right, really good sunny day, you could be fine for the 2 or 3 weeks. And then maybe you have bad weather or whatever, you run the generator for so that generator can go 10 days on a tank of diesel. So granted, not great on the CO2 perhaps, but if I can adjust my energy efficiency in the home and really get super crazy about that, I could make it work. I could be off the grid. And then think about the choices here. What kind of choice do I get? I get a choice of solar installer, right? I get a choice of financing if I need to finance the system. I get a choice of fuel provider. I could choose who fixes the generator. I got a great generator guy, right? So, and Alan says it'll take 25 years to break even. You are absolutely right, probably even more so. But honestly, for me, it's just about the fact that I would rather just pay somebody else versus the power company. Like just for the satisfaction of me knowing that I could dump them as a provider. Like to have that choice, that would be worth it to me, given what they put me through. I mean, honestly, like I lost a week of production because of that. And I was able to, so I had a whole bunch of stuff that I was going to do this week, couldn't do it. So the internet's still the problem though. So that's the only one, the one thing that even when my generator was running, my internet was down. So I could upload by going down to the industrial park or the park around the corner, but I couldn't review anything because sitting here in the chair, there was no usable internet connection. So that was a problem. So that would be the only thing left to figure out. And I would, obviously keep whatever connection Comcast wants to give me. But when Starlink gets working, that's going to be a great fallback. So you think about this, the storm runs through, grab your little Starlink antenna, stick it in the ground, PoE it back into the house. You could be all set. So that's that, I just feel like, here's my thing. I am somebody, I just don't like monopolies. I just don't like them. I don't think that they serve consumers very well. And if you have no chance of losing a customer, then you don't need to keep the customer happy, which is exactly what we're seeing with my power company, and to a lesser extent sometimes with Comcast. I mean, Comcast does have some competition around here, but it's all price, but it's not on quality because it's Frontier DSL versus Comcast. And David's Devices says, so David's Devices brings up the point about the water well. So here's the thing, where I live, we have no water and no sewer. So I've got a well the pump is in the thing over there, or the tank is in the room next to me. I have well water here, and we have a septic tank for the toilets. That's how that works. So every 5 years or so, the guy comes by in the truck and pumps the tank out and brings it to a sewage treatment plant. So I'm already off the grid on that. And where I live, we also don't have public garbage pickup. So we have a choice. There's probably about 2 or 3 in this area, 2 or 3 different garbage companies that come by. So our slogan is, in our town, our slogan is, we deliver no services and we do it well. So we have roads for the town, and we have the schools. And of course, some of the other municipal functions like the local police department. We have a small police department and some other stuff. And it's not some like libertarian bastion here. It's just the fact that, we're kind of proud independent Yankees up here in Connecticut. And, most of our town is run by volunteers. All the local officials are, with the exception of the first selectman, who's like the mayor, are all volunteer officials. All right, we got to get through this. I haven't played Fortnite in a while here. All right, so I'm just going to do the default, because I usually, if I do play it, I play it on my Switch or on my thing here. What am I doing? I don't want to pay for anything. All right, let's just get through all this. Okay. This is how they make their money, right? So Eric Pierre says you can always look at switching to a natural gas generator. Yeah, we don't have, that's the other problem, that we don't have natural gas up here. So that's the one problem with the natural gas. We do have it in other parts of town, just not where I live. But the problem with the natural gas is that the power company, so this is the other thing, the power company, the electric company, the monopoly that runs that, they also own the gas company. So they get, you can't get away from them. It's, there was a time when that would have not been legal, right? But, all right, so let's go into, but I could do maybe propane. Because I have propane for the heat here in the house. All right, how do I get into the game here? Let's cancel that. Oh, something's going on. Okay, we'll see what this is. I think I selected the wrong mode, but we can see how it works. Let's see, I'm missing a bunch of... And Eric, you are correct that I don't believe you're allowed to go totally off-grid here just yet, but I think that needs to change. And think about what a great news story that would be. Like, if they come here like trying to tell me not to run my generator, you know what I mean? Like, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, no, I think there is some restriction on that, which I think is something that needs to change at some point. So here you go. It looks good. I think it's in like a low setting mode here. So if we adjust settings somewhere. The one issue with these big screens is that you've got like controls that are in the curvature of the display. Let's see, so let's go graphics quality. So it's on auto right now. So what I want to try to do here, let's bring the 3D resolution to 100%. And let's see how that looks. Well, it looks nice. And is there a frames per second counter here? I can pull it up, I think. Let's pull that up real quick. Settings. But yeah, the bottom line for me is I just want to stick it to these guys. I've just had it, you know. And I've got the generator now, so that's been good. And just again, the problem now is the fact that if any other part of town is out, Comcast doesn't have generators on their stuff, so that created a big problem this week. So like Starlink eventually will be the backup, right? You could just go onto Starlink and you're good to go. Or perhaps we'll go on to the new thing that Amazon's doing, Project Kuiper, right? So there's options. There will be options. But I just feel like this whole grid-based power thing is just not working out, you know, like especially with the weather getting more severe. You know, where I live in Connecticut, we essentially live in the forest. So, you know, you've got that. But it feels like it's playing pretty nicely. Some, you know, 100% graphics here. David Bound brings up the point about Wallingford, Connecticut. Yes, so Wallingford, Connecticut has its own municipal power company. So we do have pockets of municipally owned power lines, and then they are the delivery mechanism. So, you know, they don't do the generation, nor does Eversource really, but you have the city deliver power, and they did get things back up much faster, and they do better maintenance. So that's, you know, there's something to be said about that too. But there's a cost, you know, you're paying that out of your property taxes, and I'm sure there's some use costs also with it. But it's, you know, over the years they've done a much better job in those cities that have their own you know, municipal stuff here. So yeah, it seems to be running pretty good. I mean, you can certainly play Fortnite on here, no problem. Looks good. So TechNerd wants to know, what is new with Starlink? Well, they just sent up another 57 satellites, I think yesterday, and they got the, I'm just going to get killed here. They got the satellites up yesterday. Oh, I think this is the squad version. I'm just going to quit here. So they got those up yesterday, so I think there's like 600 and change up. I did a video last week's weekly wrap-up. We talked about the whole Starlink update. So there's more satellites up. We've got, or they've got, I should say. The beta is going to be launching soon in Washington State. There's a very narrow band in the upper northern region of the U.S., and also southern Canada, that right now has almost 100% coverage of the initial band of satellites. So I think they're moving quickly with it. I expect it to be about 100 down and 40 up is what I think they're going to end up at. And remember too, their competition is the LTE providers and the LTE and the geosynchronous satellite, and they're nowhere near those speeds. So he's got a lot of runway on the bandwidth, I think, is what it's going to come down to. Travis says, I'm the type of teammate that, yeah, you don't want to be teamed up with me in Fortnite. I will say though, like the only game I've been playing lately has been Animal Crossing. My daughter and I have been playing Animal Crossing every night. And I don't have, it's upstairs. Maybe the next time I stream, I'll show you my Animal Crossing thing. So for me, I'm like, how do we develop sustainable income on our island? Because there's all these things that we want to do. So in my Animal Crossing house, I am building a game room. And one of the cool things about Animal Crossing is that they allow users to share custom designs with each other. So I have like this awesome 80s Pac-Man carpet, and when you turn off the light in the room, it looks like a video arcade. It looks awesome. So I've been buying up all these. They have these arcade machines on the items that you can buy. So I'm getting it set up. So I got pinball machines and arcade machines. So that's been fun. But those things are expensive. So what I did is we went to another island, and we got a fruit that was not native to our island in Animal Crossing, which was peaches. So I have a whole like section of my island that is just nothing but peach trees, and then I send my daughter out there to pick all the peaches, and I pick them up and sell them. That's her chores. Got to pick the peaches, but it's fun. But it's good. It's fun to have something to play with my daughter. So that's been kind of cool. All right. Well, folks. So David Baum brings up another point about the overhead power lines. That's another issue. I mean, in Connecticut here, we live in the forest, and trees fall in the forest all the time, and that's an issue. I don't disagree. The problem, and actually one of the interesting things about burying wires that you don't hear a lot about, but I never thought about this either. But if you go back and look at my interview that we did with the folks that run Go NetSpeed here in Connecticut. Go NetSpeed is a local fiber optic internet provider. And they've been slowly working their way out into some of the suburban towns and some of the regular cities in Connecticut, bringing fiber to the premises. And they're doing that residential fiber, that shared fiber stuff. And he was telling me that if the city or the town is mostly buried wires, they don't even bother, because it's so hard to get the wire run through the conduit into the premises. So they only want aerial from poles. But they restored pretty quick in West Hartford, where my friend has service with them. So that was good. So it worked out. DC147, thank you for the email. I'll check that out. And we'll see what happens. All right. Well, I am going to go head out and get ready for my kids to come home because I need to cook dinner for everybody when they get here. They're all going to be hungry. They're outside doing some social distancing bike riding with friends, so that's what's going on. So I'm hoping, I'll tell you what, I am hopeful, based on where I live in Connecticut. I'm close to New Haven, where they had a lot of cases in March, and we had a lot of weird illnesses running through town here, both at the high school and the elementary school. I think I told all of you that I came back from CES like sick as a dog. I was sick for I didn't have it wasn't like a pneumonia kind of thing, but I had some upper respiratory. I had 103 fever for 4 or 5 days. I tried to do a couple of streams. I just looked awful, and I didn't have the flu symptoms, but I was really just in rough shape. And we had to go all sorts of weird stuff around that time go through the schools. So I'm somewhat, and I got the antibody test. It was negative, but I'm fine. They're saying that the long-term antibody results on the tests that they've been running on everybody is looking at the wrong protein, and you got to look at this other one, and that one might, who knows. Needless to say, I tested negative on the antibody, but I'm still convinced I had it, especially given how everyone around me also got sick, and then it just kind of went out from there. And I'm feeling like it's possible that we've had some decent exposure in my area in the January, February, early March timeline before we shut everything down and before there was any testing. Because we've been, Connecticut's been probably one of the best states in the country at containment. And so we've been well under or at 1% positive test results every day. The cases are in the dozens that we're seeing, and in my town, we haven't had, knock on wood, we haven't had a positive case in my town or this general area for a couple of, a week or two at least, if not more. And we haven't had, things are open, everyone's being careful, but things are open. Retail's been open for about 2 months now, 8 weeks. I think we've been open on retail. Beyond grocery stores, just general retail's been open. We've had indoor dining for a while now. We haven't, knock on wood, just haven't seen anything. So I'm granted a lot of it's behavioral, so we'll see. But the school opening will be a big test, and we'll see how we do there. Especially contrasting to other areas where I think if you're opening schools while your infections are on the rise, that's not I don't think it's a good idea. You're in congregate settings, whereas where we are, our numbers are good. We can try, that's what we're going to do. So David Bound lives right up the road from me. So he says that, there was. We had, I've been talking to more and more parents, obviously, about all this, and I had talked to one parent of a high schooler. So one of her daughters got the COVID toe thing, she didn't feel right, but wasn't sick, but had the COVID toes that everyone's talking about. Her other daughter, mild symptoms, couldn't taste anything for a week. And the mother got sick with something else, right? But it was all in that span of time. It was weird. So we'll see where it goes. Does the Pixel 4a have an inbuilt equalizer? I don't believe so. It's not going to be good for audio stuff unless you have headphones attached. I'm not sure about that. I'll look for that into the full review. All right, everybody. Well, I've got to head out here and get ready for the arrival of the children who are going to be hungry. And Dad's getting hungry, too. It's almost dinner time here. So I'm going to charge this thing up. We'll get some more homework done on it, and we'll probably do the review. I think the release date on this is the 20th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see when the release date is for the Pixel 4a. Pixel 4a release date is August 20th. So, yeah, I might just hang on to this for a little bit longer before we do the review. I got so much stuff. I had the whole week's worth of work we didn't do last week. So we've got coming up, Shadow, the Wyze outdoor cam is ready to go. We're going to get that one done next. I've got the XPS 15. I've got another PC on a stick. Monday, I've got 2 new Acer laptops coming in with the AMD chips on them. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming up. So we'll probably do a live stream on those AMDs when they get here, because one has a GPU, a little one, and the other one doesn't. So that might be kind of a fun contrast. So there you go. All right, my friends, I appreciate all of you, as I always do. I'm going to say goodbye to the Amazon audience. So David's Devices, thank you for tuning in on Amazon. I appreciate it. Hope to see you get there again soon. Oh, before I go, just to give you all a heads up, we are going to have, this is going to be a new strategy on the live streaming. So we're going to continue doing the live streams the way I've been doing them. But the plan here is, as often as I can, we're going to have a live stream where we're going to have a limited time deal on something. So the first one is going to be sometime in the coming week, and I'll keep you posted. If you're not on my email list, sign up for it, because that'll be a way to get notified about the timing on this. And I got in from Wise, they sent over this box. You can buy this box of all the Wise products. It's like $100 or whatever. So they're going to do a coupon that's going to be active for just the time period we're doing the stream on Amazon. I don't know what the discount's going to be, but it'll be something that you may not want to miss if you're looking to get some extra Wise gear. That's going to be a fun experiment. And the plan would be that as time rolls on here, we'll keep doing the streams the way we're doing them. But my hope is that on every stream, there's going to be some deal that we'll be able to offer in the course of the stream that would be for something that you might be looking to pick up. So that's kind of the plan on that. So we'll look for that. Unfortunately, I know I brought this up. This is through the Amazon platform, by the way. I did bring this up with the Amazon folks. It's going to be US only initially, so I apologize for that. The stream will be out for everybody, so it's not going to be limited for watching, but the deal is going to be US only on Amazon's thing. But I'll keep you posted on all that. So that's going to be kind of fun. But yeah, I think it would work internationally at some point, which is what I would love to be able to do. And we'll figure out some way to make things good for all of you international viewers too. So I will keep you posted on the coupon stuff. Before I go, somebody you wanted to know my first impressions of the phone. My first impressions are good. It feels nice. I want to play with the camera a little bit. I want to get a feel for the video capabilities and all that stuff. But it feels like a nice step up from the Pixel 3a. It feels more modern. Definitely lighter. It's thinner. It feels good. I like it. I do like it. And like I said, I definitely want to spend some time with the camera. From what I'm reading on reviews, the camera's about the same. It's not, it's not bad. It's actually a great camera on a mid-range phone. But it's not going to be any better than the old one. And I think that's one of the things that people will be wondering, is it worth an upgrade? I think if you have a 3, and again, I'm super early on this, so I don't want to just make this judgment out of the gate. But I would say if you have a Pixel 3a and you're happy with it, this one looks cooler. It performs a little better, but not light years better, but definitely better. But it's not, like, oh my gosh, it's like, huge upgrade kind of better. So I think if you have a 3a now, you'll probably be fine staying there. But if you don't have a 3a and you're looking for a mid-range unlocked phone, this one might be worth taking a look at. And we'll have a full review when it comes out on the 20th. And let me know if you have any questions in the meantime, and we'll figure it out. Oh, and David's Devices points out that it's not water resistant either, so don't get it wet and don't feed it after midnight. All right, I'm going to say goodbye to the Amazon audience now real quick here. We'll end that stream, and that will be it for that one. And for all of you watching on YouTube, thank you all for tuning in, and I will be back again soon. And MG, for a real quick question there about Wise, did I ever do a video on ZoneMinder? I have not. What is ZoneMinder? I need to look that up real quick. Let's see what that's looking like. ZoneMinder. No, I have not done anything on ZoneMinder. It's an open source thing, though. I'll check it out. It's all this stuff I got to play with. And we'll go from there. Okay, everybody. We will talk again soon. And thanks for watching. We'll be back. I'll have a video up probably tomorrow morning on just to get another one out. And then we'll be back with the wrap-up on Monday. And then our usual schedule, provided my power and internet stays in place. Good night, everybody. Thank you all.